Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another meaningless award show. So, as I was thinking about how I wanted to wrap up this year, I realized that there's not enough end of the year board gaming awards. There just isn't, right? So I thought I would give one more set out. And this is the nomination show. And the parameters for who could be nominated are as follows. Now, I will say, this might change next year, but for now, this is how I'm doing it. It had to be a game that released in 2020, up through probably about halfway through November when I really started thinking about this. So if a game shows up in December, then it'll be eligible for next year. In addition to that, this is not necessarily a commentary on the most brilliant new design or the best mechanics or the best theme or anything like that. This is literally the games that I just liked the most, which does mean that there are some genres that have perhaps a better shot of winning one of these awards. That's the way it goes, because this is the most non-objective of all of my videos that I'll be putting out at any time ever. These are just the games that I want to play the most, and when I would be playing something maybe I wasn't enjoying as much, or I'd just be having a rough time, I'd think, gosh, I could really go to play that game. So that is how I came up with these 5 games. And what's going to happen is all the nominees are going to get this amazing seal that they're able to do whatever they want with right there. And then later on in the year, in December, sometime around Christmas, I will announce the order of the 5 games, with one of them, probably just one, being crowned the winner. And I will rank the others then as well, keeping in mind that these 5 games are my 5 top games of the year. So there's not really a loser, except if you don't win, I guess you're actually the loser. But you get the idea, I hope. In any event, here are the 5 games, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them. And it's just going to be a love fest. I'm not going to talk about any of my quibbles. I certainly have quibbles with every game that's ever been invented. No quibbles, just a love fest, why I like them. And these are in no particular order other than the size of the box. I'm going from the smallest box down to the biggest box because they're stacked up right there next to me. So, that said, the first one on the list is Heroes of Tennifer, the Second Curse. Now, this is not the Second Curse box. I actually got rid of that box because it all fit in the original box. But when I did review Heroes of Tennifer, my big complaint was that I wanted more content, and that's what the Second Curse did. It gives some just great new mechanics for the heroes, a lot of new variety of bad guys, a few changes here and there, and it just, I really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the game already, and I was pulling it out off my shelf a lot before the expansion arrived, and I apologize. I apparently have a fly or two in this room, and it's super annoying. Hopefully you're not seeing it too much, but I really have been enjoying Heroes of Tennifer, and the expansion just made me want to bust it all the time. It's quick, push your luck, I'm going to make horrible choices, dungeon crawl goodness. Heroes of Tennifer, the Second Curse. Now, the next one on my list is one that I feel like is an underrated gem. This is one that I almost, when I got the opportunity to cover it, said, pass. But it looked really cool. Like literally the board looked really cool. And I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And I have been so happy that I did. And that is Court of Miracles from Lucky Duck Games. And I really like this game. I like this game so much that I was sad that I couldn't play it more, because this is a game that plays best at a higher player count, at 3, 4, 5. And I was sad that I couldn't do that. Even when I could play with one other person, I wished I had more. So I created an AI for it, a solo play or add an AI to a game version of it, because I wanted to keep playing. This game comes out all the time for me. And I'm constantly testing it out with other people when I can actually see somebody, which is very hard. And I bring it out when I just want a quick 30-minute game, a solo game. I do that. I'm constantly updating this AI that I created. And I've never created an AI for anything. So the fact that I created one because I wanted to play tells you just how much I enjoy this game. A little area control, a little bluffing, some blind bidding, some worker placement, and all of that stuff. I really like it. But I really like all the games on the list. So here you go. Court of Miracles. Next on the list is another one that has just recently gotten to me. I actually have 3 games on this list that showed up in the last 6 weeks or so of the year, which is crazy to me, because usually at the end of the year I'm like, oh, okay, well that's it. And I already know what the games I've liked the most, but not this year. And so here is the next one on my list, and that is Guildmaster from Good Games Publishing. And I just really have been enamored with this game. The way that it actually, I would call it a Euro-style game. We all know Euro-style games often don't hit the mark when it comes to theme, but I feel like this one does. You really do feel like you're running a guild of adventurers, and adventurers are obnoxious, and they're going to go out and they're going to get in trouble, and they're going to fight, so you got to figure out where to send them so they're not going to run into the people they don't like. And if they do run into the people they don't like, so at least they're going to win the fight, and you're doing contracts, and you're building up your guild hall, and you're hiring more people, and you're worried about the phases of the moon, because if there's a full moon, maybe there's going to be werewolves out there, and it's harder to hire people to hunt werewolves, or whatever's going on. I really, really enjoy this game. I love the art on this one. I love the art on all of the games that I picked here, but I particularly love this one because this is the best example of diversity I have ever seen in a fantasy game. It's just awesome. I love it. I wish there was a solo mode for this, or at least that I was intelligent enough to design a solo mode for this. It's fantastic. I've been playing it with my wife. I've been getting anybody who would listen to me to come and play it with me on Tabletopia, and I just really, really enjoy this one. The next one on my list is one of the hotter games to deliver this year from Kickstarter. Of course, it's me, so I love fantasy. I love dungeon crawls. One of my favorite games out there is Sentinels of the Multiverse, where each character has its own unique deck, which is something that the Sadler brothers at Blacklist Games they made their own variant on that with Street Masters and then with Brook City. And to me, I think they have mastered it with Alter Quest. And this is just the core box. I got a whole bunch of other stuff. I got all of it. Well, I didn't get the playmats because, well, I know my storage situation is not the best. But I really like this game. I think it takes that modular deck system that they created for Street Masters, and it just has perfected it. This game feels like so much more than just a beat 'em up, which is what I felt like Street Masters. I haven't played Brook City. And you have adventure, and you have exploration, and all of the characters are unique. The art is something that I really enjoy overall, and I spent 24 hours of real time, maybe more, playing this game over 10 days, because, well, one, I wanted to get my review out, but two, because I just wanted to finish. I wanted to learn how to play, and I wanted to do one of the story campaigns, and I did, and I just really enjoyed my time with Alter Quest. It is absolutely a delight. Once you figure out what's going on, it's one that I will regularly bring back. And unfortunately for my wallet, if they do another Kickstarter for it, I'm sure I will wind up backing that one too. I hope my wife's not watching. Sorry, honey. And then the final one on the list is another one that arrived recently. And this is another one that just has barely left my table, whether it be just having it set up on my second table just to play when I can, or painting the minis because I like it enough that I'm actually painting the minis. Same thing with Alter Quest, I'm painting those minis. And this is one that is a new genre of game for me overall, and that is the tower defense game. And of course the game is Kingdom Rush Rift in Time from Lucky Duck Games. And I've been so pleasantly surprised by this game because I enjoy playing tower defense games on my phone or the iPad or whatever it is, but I'm really bad at them. I'm bad at them because there's always some kind of time crunch that you have in there. I just don't think as fast as I can click. And I'm not very good with my impulse control, so I click and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But this one, it takes all of those mechanics that you have in those kind of games and it slows it down and it adds into it a polyomino puzzle as you're shooting these different shaped things out onto the hordes that are approaching you. And I love the puzzle of the game. Everything about the game is a puzzle, and it's taken all the fiddly bits of tokens and experience and all of those things to upgrade your stuff, and it's just thrown that away. So yes, there's a lot of tokens to it, but it's only the ones that you really need, and it has this art that I really enjoy. I love the heroes in this game. I love the way they look. I love the way they play. As you can tell, I really like this game. That is Kingdom Rush Rift in Time, and I'm so excited and hopeful that eventually, sometime halfway through next year, I will be able to get the expansions, which I'm also super excited about. But there you have it. 5 games, nominees, Hungry Gamer, Game of the Year, and I would love to know your thoughts on those 5 games, or anything else that I may have reviewed in this past year that you feel like should have been on this list, because there are a couple of games that I reviewed in this past year that I think are really good, yet they didn't quite make the cut, because I had to have 5. Why 5? Because 10 seemed like a lot, and 5 seemed manageable, so that's what I chose. There you have it, folks. I will be back probably sometime next week with my video of the most played games for me of the entire year. Some of these might be on that list, some might not, but that will just literally be the games that I played the most. And that will actually include prototypes and undelivered Kickstarters and old games and all of that kind of stuff. But there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to know your thoughts on which games you think should be the game of the year and why, or why I am insane and the game should not be on the list. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.